Brian Tim today. As you heard, he is a Gahanna-Rotarian, an Ohio native from Troy, Ohio. Went to undergrad at Wittenberg, got his master's in sports administration at Ohio University. Brian spent 7 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 10 years with WBNS Radio here in Columbus, 4 years with the Ohio State University Coaches Show programs, so covering football and basketball coaches. And the past 11 years with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. He holds the position of Director of Corporate Partnerships, and I'll let him explain a little more about that. But if you'll help me welcome him today, he's going to share with us how the NCAA Final Four Women's Championship was going to bring $25 million plus to Central Ohio. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much. I just noticed as I was preparing, it's starting to snow outside, so good stuff for that. And as a Gahanna-Rotarian, I left my meeting last Wednesday, and instead of putting my badge in the box, I said, I think I'll take it with me and I'll wear it. I'll fit right in with you guys. And I see you have a total different badges than we do. But I did get one compliment on our badge, so I'll go ahead and keep that on. I did want to introduce my colleague, Bruce Wimbish, sitting with all his friends here in the front. He's our Director of Communications and is doing a great job getting the word out about what we do and the Women's Final Four. So quickly about the Greater Columbus Sports Commission before I talk about the women's basketball. In June of this past year, we celebrated our 15th anniversary. So in some ways, we're a relatively young organization, and sometimes people look at us and they don't really understand what we do or what our role is. And I like to say it's so easy. It's hard. You know, we're a nonprofit group. We're a 501c6 nonprofit. We're a sister organization of Experience Columbus, the Visitors Bureau here in Columbus. And our mission is to drive economic development through hosting sporting events. So if you think about, and some of you might have had children or grandchildren travel somewhere for a hockey tournament, a softball tournament, a volleyball tournament, stay in a hotel, eat all your meals at restaurants, maybe go to the zoo in that community. Well, that's what we do here. We host tremendous participation events for teams. We work with the Ohio High School Athletic Association. We have 19 of their different sports state championships here. We have our own March Madness at the Sports Commission because in Columbus in March we host wrestling, ice hockey, girls basketball, and boys basketball. And I'm missing one, Bruce. So in March, there's all kinds of events going on here with the high school tournaments. And oh, by the way, the Arnold falls right in there too, and I know you guys know something about that. So we work every day with those groups, with all of our colleges, not just Ohio State, but our Division III schools and our Division II school, Ohio Dominican, to find their conference championships, their NCAA regionals and championships that we could potentially host here in Columbus. And then, of course, we work with all of our professional sports teams, worked on the NHL All-Star Game years ago, worked with the crew on some of the different events that they've brought in town with Dan Sullivan on the President's Cup and the Senior Open at Scioto. So we're really have our hands in a lot of things. And really what we do is those entities take care of the sports side of things. We take care of the Columbus side of things. Hotels, transportation, places for entertainment for their different groups. So Columbus is such a collaborative city that we are successful because of so many businesses that work so closely with us, support the work that we do, encourage the work that we do, and we all benefit from it when we can see world-class golf and what's going to be just incredible basketball at Nationwide Arena in exactly 60 days. We have a countdown clock on our website. 60 days from today is the semifinal for the women's Final Four. So we bid on the women's Final Four when we identify events that we can have here in Columbus with the NCAA Division I. Many of you know we've had men's basketball 4 times. We have it again next year, first and second rounds. The last time we did bid on the regional round, and we didn't get it. So we anticipate in the next few bid cycles being able to host a regional here, which would be a kind of a next step for us. But the women's basketball Final Four is one of the largest NCAA events that Columbus can host. until they put a roof on the shoe, they're not going to play a men's Final Four in Columbus because it has to be in a domed stadium. And the college football playoff is set for years out in some of those cities. So it's one of the biggest events that we'll be able to have here in Columbus. We bid on it in 2008, and it was before the Hyatt Hotel or the Hilton Hotel was built. I remember taking a group from the NCAA out to Dublin at 2 in the afternoon and telling them, look how easy it is to get to Dublin. There's hardly any traffic. So we did our best to make Columbus very easy to get around, and it was, but we were just a little bit short in a few areas. So we rebid again in 2013, and it was November of 2014 that we were awarded these games. So 4 years ago seemed like a long time, but as you know, time flies when you're having fun, and we're having fun by bringing these kinds of events to town. So the Women's Final Four it is what it is. It's the Division I Women's Final Four, the championship of college basketball for women. Just yesterday at the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes game, there was a ceremony honoring the Ohio State 1993 Lady Buckeyes, 25 years from their appearance in the Women's Final Four, Ohio State's only appearance in the Women's Final Four. So we're celebrating that a little bit this year. So it's the games are on Friday, Sunday. Semifinal games on Friday, March 30th, and the national championship game Sunday, April 1st. That game's at 7 o'clock, and if you don't check your calendar, that's also Easter Sunday. So a little awkward to have a big time event on Easter, but what I like to say is Easter is a breakfast and lunch holiday. It's not a dinner holiday. So by the time the evening rolls around, there'll be plenty of opportunity to get down to Nationwide Arena for the games. So, you know, here are some stats by the numbers. I actually thought I'd be able to see this from here now that speaker's in my way. So, you know, tremendous event in terms of bringing people to Columbus. We anticipate 20,000 fans filling Nationwide Arena on those two sessions. Probably another 80,000 visitors. Part of the event encompasses the Women's Basketball Coaches Association's convention. So every women's basketball coach in America will be here for 3 days worth of meetings. There is a fan fest at the convention center, a very interactive area for people to come out and enjoy the sport of basketball, to dribble and shoot and actually participate. So a very interactive area there at the convention center. We have a bunch of different events affiliated with that. The NCAA does a number of events on an annual basis. They annually go into the community and they restore a court so that there's a lasting legacy of the games being there. There's a bounce event where we will have 2,500 young kids with a T-shirt and a basketball. We're going to meet at McPherson Commons and dribble up Nationwide Arena, up the middle of the street to the convention center and into the fanfare. So a really exciting way for young people to get involved in the event. A great visual for our community as the games will really take over Columbus and the Arena District. There are some of those events listed in terms of some of the ancillary events. So it's like a lot of events where sometimes the tickets, not everybody can get a ticket. I understand from a meeting this morning that we have a few hundred tickets left for these games, but there are plenty of things for people to get involved in, to participate and be a part of it. Again, the games are on Friday, Sunday. We have obviously no idea who's going to be here. You know what? When our team was in Dallas last year and witnessed that upset of UConn, it was kind of a revelation for us to think, wow, maybe it's known now that yes, UConn can be beat. Maybe they won't automatically win every year. We're hoping they're here with their fan base. Heck, we're hoping that the Lady Buckeyes could be here. That would certainly be something. So I mentioned tickets. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about tickets after, or I can leave my email because we do have some locations. We have a Columbus WFF website. It's listed on the brochure that's at your table. Listed there are all of our activities. We've had a Beyond the Baseline series, the last few months, a series of lectures and speakers engaging women in leadership and in college basketball. There's a link there to the ticket site. I can tell you, and those of you that might be familiar with Nationwide Arena, right now we have a number of those terrace tables left on that loge level. The little tables with the TV and the 4 chairs around them would be a great way to experience the event, and we have a number of those available. They aren't necessarily available on the website, so I'd be happy to answer any questions or email someone if they're interested in getting involved in something like that. I think there's one suite left, but the city of Columbus has really reached out to support this event. And these kinds of events, as a sports commission, you know, I said we're 15 years doing what we do. The nature of our work, we work behind the scenes, and so although we're really involved in bringing this event to Columbus, not everyone always recognizes the fact that we are involved in that manner. And as I mentioned, the regional basketball tournament, we hope someday that we can host a men's regional, because when you do that in every bracket in America, in every USA Today, in every pool, it's called the Columbus Regional, and name recognition is very valuable to us. We want to be known as Columbus, not Columbus, Ohio. When we were awarded these games in 2014, it was on ESPN during a women's college basketball game, and they had 4 screens in their studio, and they announced 4 years. And I always get the years mixed up, but I believe it was Indianapolis, Dallas, Columbus, Ohio, San Antonio. So we were the only one they put a city on. And someone emailed me, I didn't see the list, but with the latest news from Amazon that Columbus was one of the top 20 cities for a second hub of Amazon. Someone emailed me and told me that we were the only one on that list, that they had a state on. So name recognition is something that we are very proud of, and we try every day to host these events, these kinds of events like this one. The NHL All-Star Game was another that really helps put Columbus on the map, and can hopefully get away from that Columbus, Ohio moniker. So many ways for you to be involved. We have a ton of volunteer shifts, and so to manage all the events that we're doing, that dribble, if you can imagine the folks needed to manage something like that, the Tourney Town at the Convention Center, on the website columbuswff.org .com is a link to volunteers. So boy, it's a great opportunity for you and anyone in your family who might want to be involved and participate to volunteer. We do have a few tickets left, and then we look at our schedules. It'll be very well documented and publicized in the media in terms of what those ancillary events are and when they are, really leading up to a week leading up to the game. So again, Columbus is really going to be put on the center stage. It's going to be an exciting time. I should say we have a lot of other great events coming to Columbus. I know you guys are so involved with the Arnold Classic. We just had a presentation from Jim Lorimer last week, and so proud that it's the 30th anniversary of the Arnold, and the event just continues to grow. We are also on the circuit now for the Professional Bowlers Association, so there'll be a PBA event at Wayne Webb Bowling Alley in early February. We're going to be the Women's Swimming and Diving Hub this year. We're hosting the Big Ten Women's Swimming and Diving Championships, as well as the NCAA Women's Swimming and Diving National Championships. And then this is the 10th anniversary of Huntington Park, and so working with Ken Schnake and his team, Columbus will be hosting the AAA Baseball All-Star Game in the middle of the season. And then you might recall the Clippers participating a couple times over the last few years in the National Championship Game. There's 2 leagues in AAA baseball, and a number of years ago they started a National Championship winner-take-all game to be called the National Championship. Well, we're hosting that at Huntington Park at the end of the baseball season. So I know the Vikings missed out on playing the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Maybe the Clippers can win that national championship in their home stadium. So a lot going on for us. The Women's Final Four is a huge event. The NCAA comes over on a monthly basis and meets with us and gets updates on all the things that we're doing. So it's something that we're working on literally every day. But our world continues after April 1st with other events and more events. And so I would love to and be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about the Sports Commission or the Women's Final Four.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So the competing teams are obviously going to be preparing themselves for the games, but there's obviously some downtime. Do you assist the teams in scheduling entertainment and opportunity to get away from preparing for the game? And if so, what are the teams going to do?
Yes, we do some of that. There are a bunch of dinners and receptions and things that involve the teams, and so those things are all mapped out. Obviously, the hotels are all assigned, so there are each team has its own hotel for their team and their fan base. The headquarters hotel for the NCAA will be the Hilton Hotel. The Hyatt will be the headquarter hotel for the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. But when the teams get here, they're here for 3 or 4 days. It's pretty much a business-like approach. You know, they have one goal in mind, is to win that national title. So they do a lot of things on their own. We provide support for that. But working with the NCAA, there are some receptions and some ways that we get them involved in the community while they're here.
What might be the most actionable area that Columbus could do something to create more opportunity for themselves in these areas, especially regarding sports?
Well, we are so fortunate, and I think a lot of us that live here might not realize what great facilities we have here. I don't know how many times you drive by Berliner Park, but that's the largest softball complex in the United States. So when a softball tournament goes into a city, generally they're in 3 different parks, and they play their early rounds, and then they all have to move together to one park for the championship. And we can do all that here at Berliner Park. To have 2 arenas the way we do, to have an Ohio Stadium and a Crew Stadium the way we do, to have a baseball facility. So facilities often drive events to Columbus, but personalities also do as well. We are a fencing capital, quietly, a fencing capital of the United States because of Ohio State's tremendous fencing program. We are known as a volleyball capital of the United States because of all the great youth volleyball. There was just a tournament this past weekend at the Convention Center. If you've not ever seen those tournaments at the Convention Center, volleyball courts as far as you can see. So I'm not going to say we have it all. I can tell you a couple of emerging things that are happening in Columbus is equestrian sports. You might be familiar with the Quarter Horse Congress, which is an event, an Arnold Sports Festival of its own. But also the New Albany Classic is a great event and does so much great things for Columbus. But there's a new facility up outside of Johnstown called Brave Horse that is another equestrian facility, world-renowned equestrian facility. And so we are working with all of those entities. And even within our business, we belong to the National Association of Sports Commissions. And there are some real headways being made in equestrian sports. But I think the biggest sport that is on the horizon, especially for the young people, is esports. There are currently gaming tournaments on the West Coast that have 17,000 people filling an arena to watch people play video games on a big screen. We had one at Nationwide Arena a couple years ago. There were about 10,000 people there to watch, and some of these gamers were celebrities. They were followed when they walked around, and it's really interesting. It's huge dollars. It's a group that spends a lot of money wherever they are, and these events are very, very popular. And so it's something that not only are we looking into, but a number of cities and sports commissions across the country. Yes?
What's your prediction on the Crew? Will they stay or will they go?
You know, that's a tough question to ask. I think when the news first came out, I was very fearful that it was not going to end well. But I think as it's gone on, I think there are a lot of great things that are working behind the scenes right now. I'll be honest to say I'm not involved in any of those discussions. The Crew is a supporter of ours, and we are a supporter of theirs. And they do great work, and their sport is so much needed. When the news first came out, somebody said to me, "Well, I don't care if they leave. I never go to crew games." Well, you know, that to have a healthy Monfrey Stadium for the state high school championships, for potentially lacrosse someday, for the music concert festival that's there in May, Rock on the Range. There are a lot of great things happening at Crew Stadium in and around there that benefit all of us. If you talk about that economic development, the dollars that are spent, the sales tax that's generated, the bed tax that's generated through Crew Soccer, both their home matches as well as we've hosted a MLS Cup here. The long answer to your question is I don't have a lot of insight. I'm not into those meetings, but it's starting to look like things are turning around a little bit, and everyone here in Columbus is having great dialogue about finding some solutions. Yes?
I was involved in the U.S. Senior Open at Scioto, and I know there were local entities that were on the hook financially if the event didn't succeed or would benefit financially if the event over-succeeded. Is a women's Final Four have any local entities on the hook for either a success or a failure where we could suffer or benefit financially, or is it all the NCAA and other national organizations?
Yeah, there are no local businesses that are on the hook for that matter. When you bid on a women's Final Four or a men's Final Four for that matter, or some of the NCAA's larger events, you have to come with your bid with a financial commitment from your community. It's the NCAA's way to know that your community is committed to hosting an event, not just the people that are involved with the Sports Commission. So, for example, in our bid to try to host this women's Final Four, we included a $2.7 million financial package, and that's been made up of local businesses throughout Central Ohio who made, at the time, commitments to say, if we get this event, I'll support it at this level. And so once we got the event, those funders became funders of the event. The event is a 501c3 event, so it's a not-for-profit event. And those monies that were pledged is our operating budget for the event. So it's a formula that the NCAA uses. And so those companies, and we have them listed on our website, and we should all thank them because they are the financial engine that brought these games here. They just made a pledge. They knew it was good for their businesses. They knew it was good for Columbus to have this event here, and so they made that pledge. So it's not anything similar to to the Senior Open. Plus, there's not going to be any rain in Nationwide Arena like at Scioto that weekend. So, yeah.
What kind of volunteer opportunities are there at the Women's Final Four? You mentioned, just to give us an idea.
Yeah, there's lots of things. As I mentioned, some of these events, some of it is just administering this bounce event, just being there to help kids to. Boy, when I was at the bounce event 2 years ago in Indianapolis, it was a really windy day, and basketballs were literally blowing down the street, and it was kind of crazy. And then it's things at the tourney town at the convention center. There are dribbling drills, and there are shooting drills, and there are different things, and we just need bodies there to retrieve balls or to set them up for kids or just to keep things moving. So there's really a lot of different variety of things that are very simple and maybe things that are a little bit more complex. We have a number of our volunteers that are doing multiple volunteer shifts. So if you click on the link there on our website, there'll be a lot more information.
Are you guys looking at the other thing is bringing in minor league sport, other sports teams to town? I assume you look at all of this.
Well, it's really not our role to bring other sports teams here, but that's up to an owner or someone who might, we had a meeting this morning and the XFL came up. Could Columbus have an XFL team? We don't know. That's not really our role. Our role is to drive economic development through hosting these events. We've always said our role is not to make sure the Clippers sell out their Tuesday game in June. Our role is to make sure that when people come here for that AAA All-Star game, that they walk out saying, "Oh my gosh, Columbus, incredible! I want to go back there with my family for a vacation." So there is a little fine line in terms of what we see our role is in the community. Those teams all have ownership of some kind, and they make those kinds of decisions. We're very supportive of all of them, and we're fortunate that all of our sports teams are financial supporters of what we do. So we do work hand in hand with them. But yes.
So it would be Columbus 2020 who would reach out to these?
It's almost like bringing a business to Columbus. Just happened to be a sports business. Yeah, they would be more involved in that than we would. Now, once they got here, we would embrace them. High Machine's a perfect example. They came here a number of years ago, and we work very closely with them to really try to support what they're doing and work on bringing any ancillary type tournaments that they might be involved in to Central Ohio. Yes.
I know when the Nicholas facility was set up at Ohio State, I thought, as a golfer, I thought that would be a great opportunity to let the people of Ohio know about that, to let the people of Columbus know. I'm kind of a planner kind of a guy. What about the Sports Commission annually in January, doing the things that you just got us excited about? World-class facility, the biggest complex for softball, and putting a calendar together of all these events that are going to occur within the city of Columbus related to sport, and making that available to the service club, making it available to the professional associations, so that people have an opportunity who live here to plan ahead for something in April that they might want to take the family to, that kind of thing. So you guys know that, but the average citizenry doesn't know that. And so things happen in Columbus that go by us. And so if you're talking about promoting dollars being invested in the wonderful, aside from the Larry Nassar thing up there in Michigan State, the wonderful thing of sports for our kids and so forth, why not put something out that the community knows about?
That's a great point, because we have that calendar on our website, but unless you know to look for it, you wouldn't know about those events. And so
I don't know about your great equestrian facility up in Obetz or whatever.
No, you're exactly right, and those things are available on our website. So when people are coming to Columbus and they say, "What am I going to do when I get there?" Let's look. They can see those things. But as a resident, if you don't know to go to that website or don't have a habit to go there, there might be things. So
well, why will newspapers ever succeed? Why will they? People like to have things in their hands. So maybe you need to send something out, not ask people just to go to the website. Maybe you need, for a couple of years, to put something
I agree.
in paper.
That's why my director of communications is here. So he's a good note taker. I know he's taken all this in. So no, that is a great point, because we do have those, but we maybe don't spread them out maybe as good as we should. So great comment. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes?
What happened to the rugby team? Is it still around?
I don't think it is.
It was just a one and done?
I think it was. It kind of quietly went away. The roller derby's here still. I haven't seen that yet, but the Ohio roller girls. So, yes, back there.
What is your website?
Our general website is ColumbusSports.org. But then there's also a Women's Final Four website that's in the brochure at your place setting. But yeah, ColumbusSports.org. You can find out, we have an event list there. You can find out about the work that we do. I'm Director of Corporate Partnerships. I have 70 different corporate partners listed there. You can see who is helping us fund our work so that we can continue to bring these great events to Central Ohio. Great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much, Brian, for coming out. And if anybody's doing a makeup meeting in Gahanna, say hello to Brian when you're there. Next week, we hope to see you again, February 5th, when we'll hear from Rotarian and constitutional scholar Brad Frick on the U.S. Constitution, of course. So we'll see you then.